Welcome to the Empty Nester Podcast. I am Mark Tate.
And I am Jackie.
And today we're going to explore real stories. And I got to tell you, when I was going over this outline today, and it's about coping with should-haves, coping with what-ifs. I'll call it the what-if episode. I tell you what, it was a touchy little thing for me. I was not sure I wanted to do this podcast.
It did unleash a little bit. And you know what was interesting is, so the actual title is Coping with Regret. And I will tell you that I regret not testing our audio equipment at last week's recording.
Well, we find out that her microphone was off. Like we're looking at it right now. We can see on the laptop that my audio is coming through really good. And then you say test.
Test.
And it looks really beautiful. But we just, we didn't do it last week. And sometimes you miss stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you miss stuff.
So we apologize for that. Thank you to all of you who watched the episode anyway.
Yeah, so this is the I should have done that episode. I have regret episode, the what if episode. So we're going to unpack all those missed career moves, relationships, your regrets about parenting, or even personal growth. We're going to unpack that. And let me tell you, you're going to have some feeling here, because I can tell you I have feeling right now, and I'm still have a little bit of anxiety about, so I'm going to reveal some stuff that's pretty revealing, because then I looked at the format, and then I made some notes, and I went, I didn't realize that was so important to me.
Oh, I know. It kind of unleashed some stuff too, because when we were talking, I am very adamant and would tell anybody I have one regret, and I'm going to share that story. But then before we started recording, I was like, well, that's not actually true, because I have this regret and that regret and all sorts of things. So it is a little bit in our feelings.
And that's exactly what happened to me. I thought, okay, because you actually brought up, I know, one of your regrets. And I said, yeah, it's true. That's a regret. I don't know that I want to talk about that one. And then I had like 4 more. Okay. Whoa, okay, we got a lot of regrets. And then there's also regret. I'm not even making a note of them, because I think that is part of the experience in life. I think if you are being honest with yourself, I think that you can look back on your life and say stuff like, what if I would have done that? Or I should have. I think I should have guy. But I will tell you this, I can completely live my life in happiness and total gratitude to God above, for sure, because I know that God brought me through everything I needed to come through. But it doesn't mean we get through this thing unscathed. And that's what this episode's about.
Yeah, and actually, Mark, even as you're saying that, when we did start talking about doing this episode, we said this is a really good topic, and I think it's an important one. And we thought, I've got this one story of regret. And like you said, you're like, I can't really think of much. And I do think that goes to our mindset in life. But then when we ruminated on this, we were both a little bit testy, even honestly, before starting to record. And I do think that's why we're usually not those people with each other. But here we are thinking like, we do have some regrets in life.
Yeah, when you have something hanging over your head and it sort of colors your world until you get to wherever that event is, whoever that person is, whatever you have to do. I know I actually admitted this to Jackie. I have a thing coming up, and I'm like, I think I'm a little worried about it. So, and I said to her, you've been really sweet. Like for the last 3 days, she's been like, I don't even, except for we just kind of bickered a little bit.
Minus the last 15 minutes prior to recording. Yeah, we bickered a little bit. But other than that, she's been so sweet. And I said to her last night, I go, man, you've been really sweet. And I have not been that sweet. And usually I'm the sweet one. We have our moments. We all have our moments. Have our moments of sweetness, and we all have our moments of not so much.
Yeah.
Well, so here's
it's a touchy topic. This is a touchy topic, I think.
Yeah.
But I want to do this kind of stuff on this podcast. I want to go into, and hopefully you kind of hear what we're talking about, and then maybe you take out a notepad and you write some stuff down, because it does take a positive turn, okay? I want you to know that we're going to first look at some of the regrets, and then it's actually a positive turn of events. So it's going to be good. It's going to be good. I promise you.
Yeah, stick with us. I mean, here's the thing. Regret is a part of the human experience. It just is. And it's not really the fun part of the experience, but we know that it is something that all human beings have in common. So if you're sitting here as an empty nester thinking about some regrets that you might have, we thought this would be a really good episode to dig into that and turn these regrets into a positive spin. So why don't we start by, number one, acknowledging that we all have them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
do you want to share a regret story, or should I start?
I can start if you want me to.
Go ahead.
And you brought this up, the whole music thing for me. I never thought I was good enough. She goes, "Oh, your voice was good enough." And if you want to hear me sing, you can go on YouTube and you can go on Spotify, whatever. So we did an album, me and Gene Smead. We did a little EP. It's called Dos Coyotes.
Can I just say we will post a link in the description
All right, there
below.
you go. So if you want to hear me sing, whatever, and I would co-wrote those songs and stuff.
And he's got an excellent voice. And I do want to
very nice.
Chime in and say, for a while he was the interim worship leader at our church. And people would always comment about, "Oh, we just love when you sing," and all this stuff. But anyway, all right. So I just want to preface, because I know he's going to be humble about it. And I just want to preface, he's very good.
Well, I always thought, here's the thing on my singing. I thought everybody could sing, and I thought everybody had that ability to sing or whatever it was. And I started when I was 4 years old. I would be at church because we'd take the big kids. I was the baby. We had 3 older siblings, and I was like 4 years old, whatever it was, 5 years old, and I wasn't old enough to go to school. And I would sing the hymns with the ladies in the pews at the Catholic Church at St. Mary's in Wilmer, Minnesota. And I would sing, and the ladies would come up after me, and afterwards, and they would pat me on the head and go, "Oh, you got that singer." And so I never really thought.
Shout out to the church ladies of Wilmer, Minnesota.
And I'm not saying I'm special or anything like that, but I had something, and they recognized it. I realized I could sing, but I never recognized that maybe I could sing. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, and I do think that that's one of the. Well, it pintails off of mine, because mine also has to do with talent.
Well, so we did this little album, and we had a record company reach out to us. The album, little EP, got played all over the world because we did a little bit of promotion on it. But I was a full-time real estate agent. He was a full-time commercial pilot, and so we were both full-time. So it kind of ends up turning into like sort of a vanity project. But I'm super proud of the little EP. And it really came out. Ken Mary, amazing musician. He's out there right now playing drums. Incredible engineer and producer. He took our mud and he turned it into song. So big shout out to him too. But there was a time I had a guy. I was at a singer-songwriter open mic night, and I came and I did 3 or 4 songs that I'd written. And the guy came up and he goes, "You're exactly what Nashville's looking for." And I went, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, you're exactly what they're looking for." But we did go to Nashville. We played at an award show because we got an award, for this independent album. And but I think it was for like the best website or something like that. Something, whatever. But bottom line is, or best logo, I don't know what it was. But I will tell you this: I thought our music was better than most of the people at the award show. But that's I think you have to believe in yourself too.
You do have to believe in yourself. I don't think that's an ego thing. I was like, I think we sound good. So
anyway,
to put a pin in it succinctly, what's the regret?
Maybe that I didn't pursue a music career or put more effort into it. It wasn't really an effort thing. I was already entrenched in real estate and doing really well in real estate. And I just was like, so what am I going to do? Move to Nashville? Moving to Nashville. I was married at the time. We're moving to Nashville, and I'm going to go try and sing at the Blue Note, which would have been cool. See what I'm saying? I was more of I feel like I was a realist, and I think if I'd have been more of a dreamer, maybe, but
when we were talking beforehand, you specifically, so I'm gonna tell you what you said. Okay. I'm trying to get you to say it, but I don't remember. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but it's what you said.
I'll correct you if it's,
Is that you regretted not taking the risk.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I could see that.
That you didn't take the risk to pursue it, whatever that would have looked like.
Well, the only other thing too is that later on, Jackie said I did lead some worship stuff, and I sang quite a bit at church, that sort of thing. But I started having a real fear with playing guitar and then singing and leading and all that kind of stuff. And it was just one of those things. I'm older now, and I know I just kind of lost my chutzpah a little bit. So I think, for a while, you give me a microphone, I'll sing into any microphone. There was a point in my life, give me any microphone, I'll talk into it, I'll sing into it. And now I'm not that person.
Right.
I'm not that person anymore.
So let me share my story.
Yeah. You got a great story.
So my story is wrapped up when I was 20 years old. I wanted to pursue dance. My dream in life was to be not even a professional dancer, ballerina, whatever. It wasn't even to be that. I knew I had to be that in order to get to my real goal, which was to be a professional choreographer. And of course, when I was 20, that was in 1995. So
long time ago.
It's been a minute. Okay. That's true. But back then, like Janet Jackson, her videos, the choreography that would happen in her videos, that was what I wanted to do.
It was good.
I wanted to do choreography at that level and for that style of talent. But I loved choreographing ballets. Like I could sit and have a full ballet in my head. And I actually had a stint for a while where I was teaching junior high dance, and I would literally choreograph dances in the car on my way, because I'd listen to the music and they would show up in my head, and then I would make it happen. And so
you had the talent.
I had the talent.
Were they any good when you finally showed the kids? Were they pretty cool?
Yeah. They were great. And same thing with other Star Night and all other things that I've done.
That you were the choreographer for.
I was the choreographer for. But back to my 20-year-old story, my 20-year-old self knew she wanted to be a choreographer, but my dance, I was proficient in dance, but that wasn't where my skill and talent lied. So I had to work really hard to be a high-level dancer, which I was from, 14, 15, that type of thing. So at 20 years old, I pack up, move out of Arizona, and I go get a studio apartment on Lakeshore Drive in Chicago. And
look at you.
I know. I took all my college money that was saved up across the years, and I spent it on going to Chicago because I wanted to get into the Ruth Page Foundation. The Ruth Page Foundation is a place very well known in the dance world where you go before becoming a professional ballerina or a professional modern dancer or what have you. And I really wanted that training because, again, I knew my dance level was good, but not good enough to just soar right into...
You weren't going to be a pro, you didn't think?
Well, I wanted it more than anything, but I thought I needed the Ruth Page Foundation first to refine my talent so that I then could go into a professional...
Kind of a realistic
approach. But here's the regret. No. I do all of this. And then I get down there, and my studio apartment, to this day, I can still see it. I had a day bed on one side of it, and I had my TV on the other side, but I left all the rest of it blank because I would practice dance and flexibility all the time. And so I'm getting myself ready to show up to the open call for auditions, and the day comes, and I wake up, and I go, I'm not ready. My flexibility, I need to be more flexible. I'm going to practice because they would do, back then I forget, I think it was every 5 weeks they had an open call. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to take the next 5 weeks and I'm going to really work on my flexibility. And then long story short, 3 times that open call came, and 3 times I blew it off and didn't even go down, didn't even walk down to the doors. And then life happened, and my sister had a medical emergency, and I sublet my apartment, and I moved in with her to help her take care of her kids and kind of nanny my niece and 2 nephews. And I never went back to Chicago. After that, I moved back. It was winter, and I went, oh, what am I doing in cold Illinois? I'm heading back to Arizona, and I never pursued that goal of being a professional ballerina and then professional choreographer.
It hurts a little bit, huh?
It, like, telling that story, I'm like, oh, because it's too late now. I mean, that's the thing. Like, that was my moment in that type of an event. I'm 20 years old. Even that was old for pursuing a professional dance career.
Yeah.
And so I was at the end of my moment, and I didn't step into that moment. The regret isn't that I didn't do dance professionally. The regret is that I didn't try. And to this day, I will never know if I could have.
Interesting.
That's the regret.
Interesting. Well, you see how you can kind of dig into these things, and it really kind of brings up some emotions and regret. It brings some stuff up. Can I share another quick one real quick?
Real quick.
You know, when I actually realized I had regret about this was last night. We didn't even know we were doing this podcast.
Oh.
We're watching a show, and Dan Rather comes up on the screen. And she knows I met Dan Rather. I was a bellman, and this guy pulled a car up, and I thought it was his. So I ran up to this couple, and I said, "Excuse me, but you can't." And they turned around. Here it is, Dan Rather and his wife. And he'd been at the Scottsdale Conference Center at the time. And I said, excuse me, Mr. and Mrs. Rather. I know that's not your car out there. You're enjoying your stay. Now, here's why I came up last night. I'm in broadcasting school, Walter Cronkite School of Broadcast Journalism in Arizona State. It wasn't called that at that time. Here's the preeminent broadcaster in the world standing before me. Okay, I'm in my probably my sophomore year, so I'm not into my core broadcasting. But why didn't I say to Dan Rather, I'm a broadcasting student, journalism student at Arizona State. I've got the guy. I mean,
Yeah, like you could have said, what's your one piece of advice? Or
do you have any contacts?
Do you have contacts? You could have, oh my goodness, right?
Dan Rather.
Oh, and you're right. We didn't know last night that we were doing this podcast today.
Right. Now, I also met Christy Brinkley there, too. Or actually, Cheryl Teague's there.
Oh, so
and I guess I could have been a model. I could have been a model, I guess.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you regret not asking her out.
No.
And that's the end of this podcast.
Way over my league. Yeah. No, anyway. So
you're saying I'm not in the same league as Christy Teigen?
Oh, I don't mean that at all.
Oh, you see how this could go bad. He regrets bringing that up. Now, I'm just teasing. So let's talk about different types of regrets you could have in the empty nester phase.
Yeah. Parenting regrets. Yeah, I just, wasn't there. I pushed him too hard. I didn't love him enough. I never told him I loved him as much as I should have.
Mm-hmm. Or did I do enough? Did I open enough doors? Did I give them enough opportunities?
I didn't discipline him, or I disciplined him too hard.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't let him go do the dance class. I should have let little Mark into choir. I should have. I just didn't want to drive him there. It was 4 blocks away, and I just was tired after work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Valid.
Right.
But you could have regret about that.
Did I have enough patience with them when they were little? Mm-hmm. Things like that. So
I wish I would have spanked them. Never did. Little buggers. I got spanked one time. That's all I needed, man. It's over for me. Yes, sir. Seriously, scared that crap out of me. Not literally.
No, okay. So you could also have some relationship regrets. Opportunities. Maybe you didn't talk to a certain person enough. Maybe you didn't go to a certain event and you wish you would have because you would have saw that person. Maybe you have some unresolved conflicts that you regret either not resolving, or you regret that they became conflicts in the first place.
Jackie, how about career stuff? I mean, just work stuff.
Well, absolutely.
How about regrets within that?
Well, I think, my dance career stuff, that was definitely a regret. But, maybe later in life, you regret maybe not taking the chance where you had an opportunity to work at a different place, but you had such a good thing going where you were at. You just didn't take the risk and you didn't make the leap.
I always wanted to be a pirate.
But I don't want to be a pirate.
I don't want to be a pirate.
Okay, seriously. Seinfeld.
Seinfeld's right. Yeah. There's a lot of different career paths we could have looked at. I mean, I think if you look at your life, there's all these little intersections. And there's these little branches going off. There's a branch here, and then there's a branch off the branch, and there's another branch off the branch. But you have to make choices because you're in the moment. Right. You have to make them. And so I think, can I go to a little bit of positive news? The reason regret is okay, it shows that you care.
It does show
that you care. It shows that these are meaningful things in your life. And I think if you flip it and you say, man, I've got regrets. How about if you said, man, I really cared about that. Man, that really meant a lot to me. I think that really puts a positive spin on it for me. I don't know about you, and I don't know about you, but it really, doesn't it?
Well, it does. I'm just wondering, did you realize that was the next thing we were talking about?
I did.
Oh, okay. I was like, that transition was so seamless. I didn't even know you knew you were doing that.
Sometimes I get it done.
I just ruined it. I'm sorry.
Not at all.
Well, no, because you're right. We do. We tend to beat ourselves up about the what if and the should have and the could have. But I will tell you, if I'm going to put a positive spin, even just on the story that I shared, the reason that this story has been significant throughout my life is that I recognized how profound that moment was. And I learned at the young age of 20 that sometimes you don't get a moment, you don't get a second chance, you don't get a moment back.
Yeah, that's true.
And so for the next 30 plus, hopefully moving on, I don't forget the lesson after this podcast is over, but for the next 30 years, I've lived knowing that lesson has taught me there's a lot of chances that I have taken that I think maybe I would have been more conservative about and more scared to take the chance, but I took the risk because I knew what it felt like to not take the risk. Boom.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. So the thing that you didn't do, my music thing, whatever it is, the thing that I didn't do there when I had the opportunity to serve God, right, on the worship team, I couldn't get there fast enough because that to me was as important as going to Nashville. It turned out to be really, and worship is still, I play bass guitar now. It's still very, very high in my life in terms of what I find meaning in and how I love to serve.
Yeah.
So it's still it's a massive, music has been a massive thing my entire life.
And I don't think that'll ever change.
No. Yeah, I'll be dead and then it'll change. But other than that,
I don't know. Even then,
as long as I can play guitar.
I think in heaven, you got a spot in the choir.
Man, I hope, I don't make all the mistakes.
But you'll be in heaven, so of course you won't make mistakes because we'll be perfect there.
Perfect, yeah. There'll be no regret. Oh, I should have had an E.
Yeah,
exactly. Why did I play F sharp? I should have played an E.
No, I do believe that. I think that, certain things you're passionate about, even if you don't pursue them the way you thought you should, they still come around and serve you in a certain way. In fact, I will say where choreography is concerned, I have my talent about choreography to thank for the fact that we're even sitting here today.
It's true. It's how we met.
It's how we met.
She had gotten the gig of being the choreographer for Star Night, and I auditioned, and they let me in the show. And so I was a singer. Singer. And that's where I met her. And she, totally hit on me. Like we've covered before. And, here we are. We're married now for, umpteen years. Umpteen. No, married in 13, I think.
2013. So it's 13. Been 12 at this point. But,
I keep thinking it's 13. But, it's only 12 because 13 and then 25 minus 13 is 12. Brilliant.
Join us on the Empty Nester Life podcast as we work out math problems. But the truth is that I was able to use that skill later in life. And who knows, if he had become a professional musician, if I had become a professional choreographer, maybe we wouldn't have met, or maybe we would have. Maybe I would have gotten the gig to be your choreographer. See, it just
goes...
For
my music video, because I would have been dancing, let me tell you.
You would have had backup dancers.
I would have been, I would have. And I would have stood there with a microphone and a guitar. And I would have stood in the middle of the frame, and I would have called that a day.
So that's really interesting, because even though this is about regret, one could imagine, I mean, obviously we have no way to know because you don't know what that alternate reality would look like. But I do think that ultimately we all have a purpose and a plan. God has a plan for all of our lives, and we all have a purpose in this world. And that no matter, sometimes we'll make a good choice, sometimes we'll make a bad choice, but ultimately what's meant to be will be.
He uses all things for good for those who love God.
Exactly.
Those are called according to his purpose.
So let's break down a little bit about, where you're saying regret shows you care. Let's break that down a little bit, because I want to maybe help you come through this with a way that if you've got a regret that's really weighing heavy on your heart or in your head, that maybe you can reframe it and get to another aspect. So for example, if you regret not spending time with your kids when they were little, it doesn't mean that you were a bad parent. It means that you value connection, you value relationship, you value presence with the people you love.
Yeah, that is so revealing. I think you can just walk around beating yourself up or trying to make up for it. You're trying to make up for it now. And I think don't do that. I think just be present, love them. Or it's not even family, it's friends. People you meet, show them love, right? Show them love, because that's valuing that maybe seemingly superficial connection. And I can't tell you the number of times where, you hear about these stories, and I'm not saying that this happens to me all the time, and you made a difference. Random act of kindness, remember that? Random act. That little small connection, your presence, a smile, that sort of thing. If you want to pay it back because you don't feel like you did enough here, but it shows that you care, it's not too late.
Yeah.
It's not too late.
Well, and even beyond relationships, what about if you have a regret about health? We had kind of talked a little bit about that type of thing where maybe having a regret, you've got a certain health issue now and you regret not having done some things earlier in your life that could have prevented it. But instead of thinking about it that way, it could actually be, if you have that regret, you can say to yourself, no, actually, I value feeling good. I value having some vitality and longevity in my life. And so you can recognize that that is important to you and start to make choices today that can reflect that value. You don't have to stay stuck in I didn't take care of myself then, so I guess I might as well not take care of myself now. You don't have to do that.
We don't have to stay stuck in anything.
Yeah.
We're the people that sticks ourselves. We get in the mud, and then a friend of mine, pastor buddy, may say, yeah, what we do is we got a bucket of concrete, we put our foot in it, and now we're dragging around that bucket of concrete, and then you know what we do? We find another bucket of concrete, and we step in that. You don't have to do that.
That's a great analogy. So what we're saying is maybe that bucket of concrete is your regret, and you can take a pickaxe and get rid of that bucket of concrete.
Yeah, he actually used the analogy bucket of crap. And I think that's what it is.
Oh.
I think it's crap.
You were trying to clean it up a little?
Yeah, I was trying to clean it up, but I think it works even better. I think it's just all kind of a bucket of crap. We don't have to do that to ourselves.
That's true.
We just don't.
Well,
because otherwise we're always stuck in the crap. We never get out of our own way. We're always in our own way. We're at the stop sign and we never press on the gas. I'm saying, okay, yeah, drop it into low, rev it up a little bit, and drop that clutch. Love car analogies.
There you go.
There you go.
Well, I don't know where I first heard it, but it's called shoulding all over yourself.
Oh, shoulding all over yourself. Mm-hmm. I like that.
Stop shoulding all over yourself. I should have done this. I should have done that. So don't do that. Don't should all over yourself.
Remember, this stuff means something to you. That's why you have regret. You are a caring person. You maybe don't even realize you're a caring person. You're a caring person. If you have regret and you have reflections, you go back and you say, what if, or I should have, that sort of thing, you care.
You do care.
And I think that is really, really important. And I think the other thing is self-forgiveness. You have to forgive yourself of maybe some of these regrets. Maybe you didn't make the right decisions. None of us do. None of us make all the right decisions. Live the moment now. And okay, what can you do today, okay, that you learned about this past. That doesn't write it. Of course, you're not going to write it. You can't change. You can't go back. But you certainly can do it better going forward because you have this knowledge. You have this history. You have this regret that shows that you care, that it has meaning.
It has meaning. So instead of looking back at your regrets and saying to yourself, why did I mess that up? Why did I screw up? Why did I, what have you, whatever, fill in the blank. Instead, you can reframe that question. So don't ask yourself, why am I such a screw up? Why am I such a mess? Instead, ask yourself, what does this reveal about me? What can I learn about my values from that incident that can help me change the trajectory of where I'm going from this point forward?
That is going to show a sign of growth. It will bring purpose to your life. And I like our outline in creativity. It's kind of, what is that? You making lemonade out of lemons?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you ever chewed on a lemon, which I like, lemonade does taste better, though. It's sweet. This is going to be sweet. It's going to be sweet.
Yep.
Because you're going to feel the growth.
And honestly, that's where if you're suffering from a past regret that you've been hanging on to, this is where healing begins. It begins by reframing the instance in which you see that regret. So now you're not trying to erase the past, and you're not going back to a point in the past and, kicking yourself while you're down. You're actually honoring the truth of what it's uncovered, and now you're able to make choices with more information about you and who you are and what you value moving forward to then, take yourself away from making bad decisions that might continue you down that trajectory of regret, and now making healthy decisions that bring you into joy.
And here's probably now what your mindset should be. Rather than saying stuff like I should have, or next time I will, now you can say, now I know.
Yeah, right? I mean, isn't that so powerful? That's such a better place to come from, to say, now I know.
Now I know.
Now I know what happens when you miss your moment and you don't show up and you think you still have time, but you don't. Now I know. So next time I'm faced with a decision, then I can say, I know what that feels like. I don't want to go down that route again. I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to do it messy. I'm going to do it ugly, but I'm going to do it. And I'm going to move forward so that if I don't do it, at least I can say, well, I tried.
Yeah. Are you kind to people you meet? Are you kind to your spouse? Are you kind to your kids? Are you kind to your neighbor? Well, maybe it's time now to start being kind to yourself and talking to yourself like a friend, kindly, with patience, with caring, with love. I don't know, from where I grew up, I grew up flogging myself because I was never good enough. I never did stuff, and I've had success in my life. We both have had success in our life. I'm not saying that, but not enough. I'm not good enough. I've not had enough success. I'm not good enough in this area and that area. I'm just not. And all that self-doubt, right? And here's the thing. We all have it.
We do all have it. I have this thing. I know there's a lot of people out there that suffer from social anxiety, and I never had that until, honestly, the whole COVID thing.
You got it.
I did, and
You kind of still have it a little bit.
I still wrestle with it.
It's weird. You wouldn't think.
No. And so, for example, we had 4th of July barbecue, and it's my favorite. We do this.
We love 4th of July.
We love 4th of July.
Go America.
We go to this little parade. In fact, hopefully I'll have a link where I'm going to post a little short for the
Flagstaff's
video.
amazing.
Oh, Flagstaff has the best, quintessential small town parade, but I digress. And so then what we started doing, and it started with just the kids and a couple of friends, but what we do is we have a barbecue afterwards. So we go to the parade, and then a couple hours later, everybody comes over for hot dogs and hamburgers. We have a barbecue. Well, and I love this. First of all, I love to host. I love my friends. I love providing a fun experience for people.
It's a labor of love.
It's something I really do enjoy. And yet, here we had about 40 people over yesterday, and everybody's having a great time. People are saying they had so much fun, all this stuff. And what do you think I'm doing? I'm replaying the one stupid thing I said to someone that I'm like, why did I say that? That was so dumb. And it was like a misspeak. I said, as they're leaving, I said, it was nice to meet you. This person's our neighbor and friend. I'm not meeting them. But I was like, I mean, it was great to see you.
Sounds like something I'd do. That'd be something I'd do.
I know. And so then after everybody goes home, and I'm like, man, that was so much fun. And then boom. Why did I say that, man? And then I start beating myself up about, like, I hope I didn't make that person feel not welcome. I hope that, and I just start going down this weird path. But I mean, honestly, if Mark had said that, had that same story happen to him, I would be like, it's okay. That person knows your heart. You're a good person. We have a good relationship with that person. That person's not going to think anything weird about it. So why do I tell myself? Why am I speaking to myself about that one stupid thing I said instead of just enjoying the fact that we had a great time and people had fun? Give
yourself some grace, one. And number two, you still have an opportunity.
Yep.
They're right there.
Yeah.
I don't even know what she's talking about. But the story isn't over with those people. The story isn't over. And it's not over for you either. I'll tell you when it's over. When it's over.
Yeah, when
it all goes black, it's over. However that happens. There are various theories about that.
Well, and what's interesting about that too is that if we were to flip that, even as I'm saying this out loud, the ridiculousness that person is going, man, you know what? We went over to Mark and Jackie's and we had such a great time. And then Jackie said that one stupid thing as we're walking out the door. I can't stand those Tates now. Do you really? Like, no, of course not. They're probably, they maybe didn't even hear it. You know what I'm saying? It's like one of those stupid things.
Can I say this? I've got a friend, and in fact, I mentioned him on the last podcast. His name's Larry. He may watch this. And we have a thing. We can't offend each other. Like, he sent me and I've said stuff to him. I'm like, ooh, I probably went stuff over. And then he texted me. This is like a month or two ago. He texted me, and then he follows it up with, hey, man, I didn't mean to. Or he said something in front of some other people. And then hey, man, I'm like, hey, listen. One, you didn't offend me. And two, you know what? Let's just everybody quit being so hypersensitive.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know you love me. I love you, man. You're awesome. And, let's just stop with that. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's a good point.
I don't know. I just think, you know what? We're all going to say stuff. That wasn't even something dumb. That was just a misspeak. But even when we say something dumb, can we just love one another? Can we just give everybody a little bit of grace?
I think that's...
A little bit of grace.
Yeah, I think that is very important. Number one, to give yourself grace. Number two, to give others grace.
Yeah.
And I like that. Like, you're going to offend people in life, and you're going to be offended in life. But to think that everything around you has to change because of that is very, honestly, it's self-centered, narcissistic thinking. It's not realistic. I listened to a preacher a long time ago. I can't remember which one, but they said that it's ridiculous to try and change the whole world to accommodate how you think and how you feel.
And your feelings.
Right. Instead, change who you are. Feel good about who you are so that you can stand confidently in who you are. And if you're coming from a place of love, a place of kindness, a place of compassion, a place of concern,
awesome.
If somebody takes you wrong, then that's about them and it's not about you. But
I always say that when somebody doesn't like me when I first meet them, I go, everybody likes me. There's something wrong with them. And let me tell you something. It's a good mindset.
It is a good mindset.
It is a good mindset. And I'm not saying that everybody likes me or anything like that, but I'm pretty friendly. I try not to offend them, at least not initially. And if they don't like me or they're just mean to me, they're just not nice to me, I pray for them, right? I'm like, hey, man, something's going on there. And the other thing I've learned about is grace. Like, you know what? I don't know what they're going through. But I know that I wasn't treated the right way, but I don't know what they're going through. So one, I'm going to give them grace.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this. I'm going to try and give them some grace. I'm like, well, I didn't do anything, and they were mean to me, and they wouldn't like me, and who doesn't like me? And I'm not saying everybody likes me. I'm not saying, but you understand my mindset on it. My mindset is, I didn't say anything unkind. I showed them grace. Usually I do, but I really got a really mean retort. Okay, maybe I should pray for him. Maybe there's something going on there. And I'll bet you in a lot of cases here, maybe, God's talking to me, Holy Spirit's talking to me in those times and saying, Mark, pray for them. Because, man, they're going through some stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
No, I like that perspective. And I'm sorry I laughed the way I did. It wasn't because of the mindset. It was because the delivery you said it made me think of that Saturday Night Live character.
You're not offending me.
See?
I'm giving you grace.
See?
It's okay.
And that's exactly it. Where I do think that so many times we do get up in our feelings, like, what did I do again? I mean, standing in front of that person, I love that mindset that you have, because you're saying, like, this isn't about me, this is about them. So I actually respect that a lot about you, and always have, that you have a confidence in who you are, even though you will be the first to say, well, I'm not perfect, but this is who I am. This is how God's made me. Mm-hmm. And you're not, and I don't say that like you're not coming from a place of ego in that either, because you also are very willing to say, oh, if I messed up, I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to apologize.
And I am willing.
And I'm willing to be better. So I think that's a really healthy balance. And so, high five to my husband on that one.
Super cool. We fleshed that one out, and now let's move on.
So let's move on. That's the lesson, is that your story's
Did I nail the outline again?
You did it again. Your story's not over. You don't have to continue to go back in the past, because like Mark already said, you can't change that. And so how can you release that and move forward? So we want to talk about a few practical tips, tricks, and techniques that you can use if you are wrestling with a regret that you want to get over. And I want to say the first one
is journaling.
And we have on our outline a couple of different ideas about how to journal. And one of them is to write your past self a letter and say, kind of letting them off the hook, hey, it's okay. And I think that's the thing that kind of came around, I want to say kind of 2010, 2012, somewhere in there, where people were saying, what would the message be to your past self? What would you tell that little girl when she had that moment, and that type of a thing? So that's one technique.
Can I say something about journaling?
Yeah.
So it's going to take some effort, but you're worth the effort. I bet you would do that for your kid or someone you love or a friend. I bet you'd write them a letter. But a lot of times we won't write ourselves a letter. We won't take out that little ballpoint pen, and we won't do a few sentences about forgiving ourselves and talking to ourselves, and maybe talking to that younger self. We won't do that because it's just me, or I'm just not going to take the time, or I'm not going to do the effort. I'm going to turn on another show. And I'm speaking to the choir. I'm not even, I'm speaking to the choir. But that it kind of struck me like, okay, don't be lazy about myself.
Ooh, that's good. That's gold. Don't be lazy about myself.
Yeah.
That's really good stuff. I like that a lot. And the other thing about journaling, another way you can journal is you can journal it like a prayer. So you can be journaling your prayers to God and praying for God to help release you from that past regret.
It's the move.
I mean, honestly, I have my mom's journals. My mom passed on Mother's Day.
So I want you to continue that thought. We had to take a little emotional break for her because it's a very difficult subject, obviously, because it's very fresh.
Yeah. Yes. So I have her journals, and she left them for me, and I'm reading them now, and that is how she journaled. She journaled her whole life as an ongoing conversation with God. And the benefit I'm reaping from it, I'm learning a lot about my mom, and and I'm seeing where she did have some struggles that I know she worked through. I know she overcame, and then some that I know she didn't. And it's just, it's a real blessing. And I know that technique helped her in so many ways in living out her purpose in life.
Another point would be to just talk it out with someone. You might have somebody close enough to you. I hope you have somebody close enough to you that you can kind of talk out these what ifs or these regrets. Talk it out.
Yes,
it takes a special person to, number one, admit them, and number two, talk them out, because it opens wounds.
It does. And I would say too that there's a lot of times that the stuff that goes on in our head, when we say it out loud, there's something about it where, I mean, even when I told the story about that little moment of social anxiety from our event the other day, just even saying it out loud, I'm like, it's so ridiculous. And so sometimes by just saying it out loud, you are releasing it. You're actually able to process it a little different. So if you can talk to another person who loves you and unconditionally, that you can trust with those intimate inner thoughts and talking out regret, that's fantastic. But if not, we highly recommend. That's the benefit of therapy. That is the benefit of working with a counselor. That's the benefit of going to your clergy, your pastor, or your Bible study leader, or whoever it is in your life that you can trust, who will not pass judgment on you but help you work through it. That's going to be the key.
It probably isn't going to take you weeks or months or years. It might.
It could, and if it does, that's okay. It does.
But well, yeah, I guess I'm kind of pragmatic that way. Okay. We got our 15 minutes in. I'm good now.
That's Mark. 100%. Okay. That's Mark.
Can we move on now? Go. Okay, we talked about forgiveness too, forgiving yourself. Hey, forgive yourself and then say to yourself, I care.
Yeah.
It means something to me. I care. It means something to me. Okay. All right. That's it's not a positive spin. It's real.
Yes, and another way to use that moment of regret to turn into something good is you can reconnect with your purpose. So if your moments, I don't know, I mean, we all have multiple regrets, let's face it. Yeah. But if those moments keep coming up in your mind, then let that moment instead, when it comes up in your mind, instead of beating yourself up, let it actually turn into a new intention or a new habit. So if that regret is coming up, instead of you going, oh yeah, man, I really feel bad about myself, and letting it drag you down, instead find a way to make that lift you up. What does that look like? Instead of letting that regret, oh, now I'm going to beat up on myself, turn it around and turn it into an intentionality moment. Exactly.
And I'm going to throw something out at you. There may still be time. You can maybe revisit this. There may still be time. Maybe you can turn it around. Maybe it's still out there.
Yeah, I mean, it will be uncomfortable to begin with, but you might be able to revisit it. So in other words, let's talk about an example of that.
Can I give you an example?
Please do.
So for 10 years, I acted. I did mainly commercial work, that sort of thing. I wanted to be in a Western. I wanted to be in a Western. I wanted to be in a cowboy movie. I love Westerns. And I wanted to be in a cowboy movie. I grew up riding horses. I can ride a horse. I know how to wear a cowboy hat. I wore plenty of pairs of cowboy boots. I wanted to be in a Western. I never got in a Western, but I was cast in Young Guns too. So this is kind of a fun story. So I go down to Tucson. They used to film it. This is, they do the TV show there, but they also this was Young Guns 2. This is the second movie. And I got sent down there by my agent, because I had an agent. I got sent down there, and I'm in the hotel, in the room where they casted everybody. And I'm doing this audition, and I've got Emilio Estevez, his black and white, headshot, Coburn, Lou Diamond Phillips. It's right there. And I'm there to audition to be the priest at the very end of the movie, for Billy the Kid. I'm going to do the thing. And it was super cool. And I learned this whole Latin thing, in paradisium de ducante, this whole Catholic thing. And I can say it in paradisium de, or I can chant it in, do that whole thing. I got cast in the movie. Lou Diamond Phillips got hurt. They ended up doing that part. They actually did the Latin thing, ripped me off, but I never got in it. I quit doing it. Well, so I always kind of regretted that. And I also met this gal one time in Los Angeles. I lived in Los Angeles for a while, and she was a casting director. She goes, I think you'd be great. And I was like 25, 26 at the time. She says, I don't want to be an actor. Of course, a year later, I moved back to Arizona, became an actor for 10 years. I was never a good actor, but I became an actor. And I kind of faked my way into it, but it worked. And so what's really crazy is that I just got an opportunity to be... See the point?
I was wondering where he was going with this. I just got an opportunity
to be in a movie, and I was in a movie. I met a guy, friends of ours. What I'm saying is that he said, dude, I got a part. I wrote a part for you. I got to have you in this movie.
He wrote a part for Mark.
Yes, he wrote a part, so I'm this mob guy. And it's going to come out on the internet. So I'm this really bad guy. It's a futuristic kind of thing, and I'm Crash. And I get killed at the end. Ooh, I shouldn't have said that.
Oh, you just totally...
My head gets stomped on.
Spoiler alert. Okay.
Anyway, so I got to go back, and I got to go back because there's still time. You know, I got in this movie. I don't get to wear a cowboy hat, but I got to be in this movie. Well, and I had a great time.
You really did. And that's funny. You're telling this whole story and I'm going, so what are you saying? Are you going to like go get yourself an agent? And then when you brought it back around to that movie, I went, oh, that's right. That's so cool. So, I mean, that's a good example where that dream may not be dead. My story about choreography is a good example too, because even though I dropped the ball on becoming a professional choreographer, down the road when I had a career in real estate and there was this opportunity to do a fundraiser for what was called the Hutch Fund, this event was called Star Night. We already talked a little bit about it, but that opportunity came up and I went, oh, you know what? So it's like all these individual acts, but then there were 3 ensemble numbers, an opening number for the second act, and then a closing number that were choreographed with the entire cast. And I saw it the first year it came out and I went, oh man, I would love to choreograph that. And then after that first year, the person who did the choreography was like, man, that was way more of a time commitment than I understood. Big time
commitment.
So she quit, and the person, one of the people who was on the board for the Hutch Fund, knew my background and put my name in the hat. And then I actually had to go do some choreography. I rented a dance studio and recorded myself doing my choreography. And so I got the gig. And so then number one, I meet my husband.
Yep.
I meet some very dear friends who turn out to be lifelong friends from that.
I still have some friends from that.
Yeah. And we also had the opportunity, I got to choreograph, I forget how many years total. I think 6 years total that I did the choreography for that. And so I really did get to use that part of me later in life, and in a totally different way, unforeseen, but it was
not
there.
Less fulfilling.
No. In fact, who knows? Maybe more fulfilling. I don't know. So anyway, also just know that the dream may not be dead. And just like that one, I couldn't go back to my 20-year-old self and become this professional dancer, but I was able to use it. Mark didn't go back and couldn't go back and act in the Young Guns movie.
It may not be the same form. It may not be exactly the way you had sort of wrote it up in your mind, but life never is. It never is. So just be open to the opportunity, because I almost didn't do that part. Didn't do that part. There was some dialogue in there that I said, I'm not doing that dialogue. And I went back to the writer or the director and writer. I said, I'm not doing that dialogue. That's okay. You don't have to do that dialogue.
Yeah,
okay.
We'll change the dialogue.
Then I'm in.
Okay.
But I was like, I don't know for a while. But then I was like, well, if you change the dialogue, I'll do it.
Well, and the other thing is too is that this is an independent, like an indie film kind of thing. We're not talking. I mean, we're not doing.
Francis Ford isn't calling me.
We're not doing
We're doing a Godfather review. You're familiar with Pacino, right?
I don't think there's
We
any.
want you to play his part.
I don't think there's any red carpets coming out or anything for it. But how cool that you got to do that, and you're in this medium that you always wanted to be a part of. So that's really neat.
Yep.
I would say too, small steps can lead to big differences. And so where your regret may be bogging you down right now, if you can go back to what we were just talking about in terms of ways to release that regret, ways to reframe that regret to help you see it differently and to release yourself from the kind of the shackle and chains that maybe are around you because of that regret, then you can start to take these small steps. You know, I mean, for example, it can be a situation where maybe you always wanted to have a career in woodworking. I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out. But you were busy doing you were a teacher, you were an engineer, you were whatever, fill in the blanks, you were a realtor. Well, it's not too late to just start going and doing some woodworking. And it doesn't have to necessarily be a career. It can be a hobby, especially now in your empty nester life phase. So if your regret is that you didn't do a certain career, if it's something that you can dust off and start to do as a hobby now, okay, go for it. Step into that. Take those small steps to experience it again.
And may I make a couple of points?
Please do.
Okay. If that dream or that relationship or whatever is destructive, please avoid it. Please avoid it. So avoid it, number one.
A very good point.
Avoid it. And number two, Jackie was talking about creating new chapters. How about just write a sequel, right? Write a sequel. It's never the same as the original, but it doesn't mean it can't be as good. I don't think the first Godfather was actually the best Godfather.
No, I think the second one was the best.
Godfather 2, that's what everybody pretty much says. So the sequel could be better.
Well, I like it.
Yeah.
Although the first Godfather was an excellent movie. Let's not.
Come on. No, don't kid yourself.
Come on.
We can kid ourselves, but we're not going on with Godfather.
Leave the gun, take the cannolis. All right.
Good stuff.
All right. So let's give a little bit of encouragement to close this out. First and foremost, you are not defined by your regrets. You are shaped by what you do next.
Yeah. Make a move. Maybe now is now. Maybe now is now.
Maybe now is now.
Maybe now is now. Now's the time to make your move. Now's the time to not to be defined by your past, but to write a sequel, and now is now.
Yes.
That sounds like okay.
That sounds a little...
I came up with that myself, but
Eckhart
it sounds
Tolle
like...
kind of thing. Is that how you say his name? I don't really know.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, but it's profound.
It's profound in its simplicity.
Yeah, there's like a Deepak probably would say something like that.
Maybe you missed your calling to be like a self-help guru.
Yeah. That's what it sounded like. But I don't know. Make your now.
No, but you know what? We're joking around, but there's a lot of wisdom in that point in basically saying, take the next step, do it now. If you're listening to this podcast and you got to this point, then maybe there's something inside of you that's churning a little bit and you're saying like, well, maybe I could. Yes, you can. So take this as your permission, as your opportunity to move forward. And maybe understand, another thing, I really want to help you understand that this is a season to take back whatever power that regret has stolen from you. Take that back.
Or fear.
Yes.
Or maybe fear.
Yeah, whatever, yeah, if that regret has implanted a fear in you, it's time to release the fear and take back control of your story.
And remember, maybe now is now.
Yeah. So reflect, release, and now rewrite the story, or in your words, write the sequel.
Write the sequel.
All right. So the last note I have here is that honestly, you've got this last whatever bit of your life. If you're an empty nester like us, I heard somebody say they're in their last trimester. I heard somebody say they're on the back 9.
They're in the middle.
All these kinds of analogies. But let's face it. Once you get to our age, you have fewer years ahead of you than you have behind you, and that is not trying to be dark. That is just trying to be realistic. So make those years count.
Yeah, and you're not promised tomorrow either.
You're not promised tomorrow.
I don't care if you're 25 and watching this, because we have 20-year-old viewers. We have 30-year-old viewers. No day is promised. So
yeah,
now's the time.
Now's the time. So whatever you're thinking about, or you've been churning around in your head and you're thinking, I probably should, or I really want to, do it now. Do it now.
We're going to have to figure it out, Jackie. Maybe there's something that we have to do now, and we'll talk about this.
We will talk about this, and we'll report back on the next episode, because I'm sure we will have some things, because I know there's some stuff that even as we're talking, I'm like, "Ooh, girl, you are preaching to the choir right now. You need this message."
Yeah.
So.
And you can make your life more meaningful, have more purpose, I think, if you just focus on today rather than the past. Don't project too far into the future, because that's hard. Like we always say, it's just, you can't write your life for tomorrow. You can only be in this moment.
That's why, what's that saying where it says the past is, well, never mind. I always get sayings wrong. Anybody who knows me well knows that the minute I try to say a popular saying, I'm going to get it wrong anyway. So maybe I'll just write that in the notes below the one I'm thinking
I'll tell you
of.
this. We do hope that we brought some value today.
Yes.
I know it brought up some emotion, especially for Jackie. It brought up some things. It brought up, I think, things that maybe weren't dealt with, and we didn't even realize it. And then we put together this format and this outline, and we went, I almost said, I don't know if I'm ready for. I did. I almost said, but see, that's facing your fears. Mm-hmm. That's saying, okay, I'm not going to let regret, or I'm not going to let it mess me up. Because when I read our idea on how it brings meaning, I went, oh, okay. I can get behind this format, because meaning means that I care. And so that's what I took away from this. I took away that regret means I care, and that things have meaning to me. And so that's why I was able to sort of move forward in this. And I don't know if that's true for you, but that's my big takeaway today.
Well, and I think, it was a little uncomfortable to talk about this stuff.
It was a little uncomfortable. What
I want to say is that with this podcast, I hope to get more of that, because I do think that the more uncomfortable the topics are, maybe for us to approach, might mean the more uncomfortable it is for other people whom you might have found this podcast because you are currently dealing with some regrets, and you went to YouTube, or you went to Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and you started to search, how do I cope with regret? And so the bottom line is that we all need help from time to time. And so I hope that by us revealing a little bit of our uncomfortable personal truth, that maybe we can help you.
I tell you what, getting them out there, talking about them today was therapeutic for me.
Yeah.
And it may be for you. I'm not saying that you need to write it in the comments of this video, but you could. You could. Absolutely. Because getting it out there, I think, yeah, I feel emotionally completely different than I did an hour ago about this topic. That is true. That is definitely true for me as well. Yeah. So, hey, it's been a pleasure to have this chat with you today through this podcast. If today's episode resonated with you, feel free to share this with maybe somebody that you know is wrestling with regret. Or if somebody came to your mind while you were, listening to this and you went, oh man, this is making me think of so-and-so, maybe send this episode to that person. I don't know. I kind of have that little prompting that maybe this could be helpful.
Obviously, we would love. Can I be funny for a minute?
Oh, funny is always what I like.
Okay, so I was going to say you're going to regret not liking, subscribing, and commenting on this podcast episode. Corny, I know.
Don't regret that.
Don't regret.
This is now being in the now. Make now.
Now is when you should hit that like button and all that fun stuff. And if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or any other of the audio platforms, please give us a 5-star review and tell us how we're doing.
We really love it that you would spend this time with us. We know that your time is very special and it's very valuable. We hope we brought something to the table today. I hope you have a super great week. I think Jackie maybe does too.
I'm hoping the same for you, yes.
We love you. Take it easy.
Bye for now.